You do it dozens of times a day, right? You type in a web address, you hit enter, and boom, a website just appears. But have you ever really stopped to think about what's happening behind the scenes? It's this incredible journey that happens in less than a second. So today, let's pull back the curtain and figure out how websites actually work. Yeah, it feels almost like magic, doesn't it? You type, you click, and there it is. But underneath that simple action, well, it's a whole conversation happening between computers at like the speed of light. So what's really going on when you press enter? Let's find out. And to do that, we're going to follow a pretty simple roadmap. The best way to think about it is like we're building a house on the internet. First, we'll check out the landscape, the difference between the internet and the World Wide Web. Then we'll get our digital address. After that, we need a place to build, a home for the site. Then we'll move in all our stuff. And finally, we'll put it all together for the grand opening. Sound good? Let's go. Okay, first things first, we got to start with the absolute basics, because this is a big one. People use internet and World Wide Web like they're the same thing all the time, but they're not. They're actually fundamentally different. It's kind of like the difference between a city's entire road system and the actual buildings you visit in that city. So here's the deal. The internet is the infrastructure. It's all the physical stuff, the fiber optic cables, the satellites, the routers. It's the roads and the power lines that connect everything together globally. But the World Wide Web, that's the collection of stuff on the internet. It's the websites, the pages, the content. It's the houses and shops you actually visit using those roads. You can't have one without the other, but they are not the same thing. And this is what that infrastructure kind of looks like, conceptually. You've got your computer, which connects to what's called an internet service provider, your ISP, like Comcast or Verizon. And they're your on-ramp to this massive global network of interconnected computers. Without this, well, nothing goes anywhere. It's the foundation for everything. And this is what most of us actually experience day to day. The web. It's just billions and billions of pages, all connected to each other with hyperlinks. Every time you click a link, you're essentially telling your browser, hey, use the internet's roads to take me from this digital house to that one. Simple as that. Okay, so we've got our city grid, our infrastructure. Now, if we want to build our own house, what's the very first thing you need? An address, right? So people can actually find you. Well, in the digital world, that's your domain name. So a domain name is just that, a unique, easy-to-remember address. Think google.com or youtube.com. It's way easier for us humans to remember a name than a long string of numbers, right? It's literally your website's street address on the World Wide Web. But hold on a second. That brings up a super interesting question. The internet is just a giant network of computers. How in the world can your browser find one specific computer, one server, out of literally billions, just by using a simple name? Well, here's the secret. It can't. It doesn't use the name at all. See, computers don't speak English. They speak in numbers. Every single device hooked up to the internet has a unique numerical label called an IP address. It looks something like this. 216.239.51.99. Yeah, not exactly something you'd put on a billboard, is it? So how do we get from the name we can remember to the number the computer needs? That's where this amazing system called the DNS, or Domain Name System, comes into play. Just think of it as the internet's giant phone book. When you type in google.com, your computer makes a quick call to the DNS and says, hey, I need the number for google.com. And the DNS looks it up and says, sure, that's 216.239.51.99. And that's the number your browser uses to connect. So when you hear about registering a domain name, this is what you're actually doing. You're officially adding your new address into that giant global phone book. You're creating an entry that tells the whole world, hey, whenever someone looks for this cool name I just bought, please send them to this specific number, this IP address, where I'm going to build my website. All right, so our address is officially in the phone book. People can find us. Now we need the actual land to build our house on. And on the web, we call this web hosting. Web hosting is really just renting space on a super powerful, always-on computer called a server. That server is where you'll store all your website's files. It's your little plot of land on the internet, and it's kept running 24/7 so that anytime, day or night, when someone types in your address, your house is there and the lights are on. And the companies that do this are called web hosting providers. They're basically digital landlords. They own these massive buildings full of servers, and they rent out little apartments or plots of land on them. They handle all the tough stuff, and they give you the space and the bandwidth. That's the amount of traffic that can visit, so your site is accessible to everyone, everywhere. Okay, we've got our address, we've got our plot of land. Now it's time to actually build the house. We need to get all the materials, our HTML files, our images, our code, from our own personal computer over to that server we're renting. And for that, we need a digital moving truck. And that digital moving truck is called FTP, which stands for File Transfer Protocol. It's one of the old school workhorse tools of the internet. Its whole job is just to move files from one computer to another over a network. It's literally how you pack up all your website's building materials and ship them from your garage to your new plot of land. And the process is really straightforward. First, your computer, which we call the client, reaches out and connects to the web server. The server, which is always listening for these kinds of connections, accepts it. And then once that connection is made, you can start uploading. You just move your files from your machine over to the server. Done. And this is what that software actually looks like. It's not some scary command line thing. It's usually a simple window. On the left side, you see the files on your own computer. On the right side, you see the folders on the server you're renting. To upload your website, you literally just drag the files from the left and drop them on the right. That's it. It's a digital moving day. All right, we've laid the foundation, we've got our address, we've secured our land, and we've moved all our stuff in. Now, it's time for the grand opening. Let's step back and watch how this entire system works together seamlessly. So this brings it all together. Let's walk through it one more time. A visitor types your domain name into their browser. Their computer instantly asks the DNS, hey, what's the real address? The DNS gives back the IP number. The browser then sends a request straight to that IP address, which finds your server. Your server then grabs all your website files, the HTML, the images, the whole shebang, and sends them all back to the visitor's browser. And finally, the browser pieces it all together to display your beautiful web page. And the craziest part? All of this happens in like the blink of an eye. It's incredible. So what started as just a simple tap on a keyboard turns out to be this amazing high-speed dance between computers and networks all across the globe. But now you know the blueprint, right? It's not magic anymore. You know you need an address, you need some land, and you need a way to move your stuff in. It's a system, and it's a system that lets literally anyone build something and share it with the entire world. So now that you know how it's done, what are you going to create?